Hey everybody, it's Jesse again, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today we're going to go back to the favorite Gen X apocalypse. This is Volume 5, Asteroid. So we're going to talk about an asteroid apocalypse. This kind of apocalypse could break down in several ways. I don't know how many of y'all have read the book Lucifer's Hammer, but it's a good apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic book. I've read it several times. My favorite part in the book is where these nut jobs chain themselves across the road and they stop people from getting out of the I think it's LA. People are trying to get out of LA before the tsunami hits, and these whack jobs chain themselves across the road and they're blocking traffic. So the drivers get irate and they pull out tire irons and stuff and go at them. Yeah, that, maybe call me dark or sick or something, but that's my favorite part of the book, and it happens relatively early in the book, and I always find myself reading fast until I get to that part. Yeah, but anyway, that's a good book, and it describes an asteroid apocalypse. And there are several ways it could happen. One of the ways, if you think about it, the Earth is 70% covered in water. So we've got a 70% chance that an asteroid would hit a large body of water. So if it hit in like the middle of the Pacific Ocean or something, it would just send tsunamis in every direction. Those waves would travel all the way around the world. Every coastline would get hit with a major tsunami. There'd be flooding, power outages. A lot of the technology is based in those coastal cities for some reason. You know, Silicon Valley over there in California, LA, San Francisco, a lot of those companies are right there on the coast. And a big tsunami like that would come miles in, so it wouldn't, nothing would survive like within miles of the coast around the Pacific Ocean. Now around the world, you know, of course the waves would be still large but smaller than the big ones that hit around the Pacific. Japan, Korea, you know, Asia, along the Asian coast there, that would be destroyed too. So the best bet would be the central, you know, middle America, Kansas, places like that, you know, places around Kansas, Montana. The water might even travel up into the Great Lakes. I don't know. But there'd probably be some flooding there too. But anyway, society, all electronics and stuff, the internet, everything we rely on now for trade, distribution of goods, every boat, all trade networks across oceans and seas would be completely wiped out. The world now is so dependent on that international trade system and when that completely collapsed, that would be the biggest thing that we'd feel, because we get a lot of our food from other countries now. All of our out-of-season stuff like avocados, fruits, vegetables, all that kind of stuff. A lot of our meat comes from overseas now. That stuff would shut down, and the grocery stores would empty out fast. So that would be the main problem, is that international trade system that our government has established for us. That would break down almost immediately, and we'd basically be fending for ourselves. Anybody that survived away from the coastal regions. And that's where the major breakdown of society would occur. When that happened, then it would turn into, you know, every man for himself, dog eat dog. Communities would band together to defend themselves, that kind of thing. And I actually, through the comments there, I forget the commenter's name now because I read so many comments, so you have to forgive me. Hopefully you're watching this and you know who I'm talking about. But Apophis, there's an asteroid. There's a chance that it might hit thread some kind of keyhole, some gravitational keyhole, and then it could hit us. Now I read an article on it, and that could occur in 29 or 36. But like I said, I read an article on it, and now they're saying that it's completely impossible. They studied it long enough, and now they're saying it's completely impossible. But me being the way I am now, is the government telling us the truth on that? You know what I mean? I just don't trust anything they say. I would not put it past them. I'm not saying that I believe the thing's going to hit us, but I'm saying I don't believe our government. I don't believe what they say. I don't believe the scientists that work for the government. I don't believe the scientists that work for big companies. I don't believe any institution, period. I don't believe colleges, elementary schools. I don't believe any of it. I take stuff at face value, and then I believe it when it happens or doesn't happen. So let's say that the government knows that something like this is going to happen. What do? Do they tell us about it, or do they keep it hidden from us because we're not ready to know about it yet? You know what I'm saying? Or they're doing it for our best interest, keeping us in the dark. I can see them doing something like that. I can completely see them. They've hid so much stuff from us that I guarantee you, if they did find an asteroid that was going to hit us, they'd hide the information from us for as long as they could, so they could get themselves in a better position to survive it. So that's where my brain automatically goes when I hear stuff like that. Oh, they've studied it and they figured that now they know for a 100% certainty that it's not going to hit us. And say, so there's a 50-50 chance in my mind. Now there's a 50-50 chance. But anyway, the other thing to think about is that an impact like that, it would throw up a lot of water vapor, and depending on the depth of the ocean, a lot of sediment into the sky. So there'd be some kind of winter type of situation there where you'd have a prolonged winter where the debris in the air, either the water vapor or the dirt, the dust, would block out a lot of the sunlight. So we'd have some kind of prolonged winter-ish thing, depending on how much got thrown into the air. Water vapor, I think, would come back down faster than dust. Dust being up there, that would be similar to a nuclear winter. It could be up there for years, just floating around up there. And it would take years for it to settle back down. Some of it, at least. And that's the scary part about it hitting the ground. If it hit dirt, if it hit the earth, some continent, wouldn't matter which one, really. If it hit, say, the Asian steppe, where it's very lowly populated, didn't do much damage initially to humanity, but it would throw so much debris into the air that we would be faced with a prolonged winter. Now that is the kind of thing that isn't attractive to me. I don't want to be in a post-apocalyptic world where it's like dark most of the time, and no plants will grow anymore. That kind of stuff. That doesn't seem enjoyable to me. That's why this is number 5 on the list of Gen X's favorite apocalypse, because the whole prolonged winter thing isn't attractive. But luckily, this is only one scenario. We have 4 more scenarios without prolonged winters. So I'm rooting for one of the 4 previous apocalypse. And if that happened and there was a prolonged winter, then farming and agriculture would deteriorate quickly. It wouldn't destroy trade networks necessarily so much, depending on where it hit on the land. But there wouldn't be much food to trade after 6 months or a year or something. The food supply would just go downhill quick. Then it would lead to chaos and a lot of bad things. So, in the event of an asteroid, I'm going to be hoping that it hits in the deepest part of the ocean, in the middle of the Pacific, where the water is, 2.5 miles deep or whatever, or 10 miles deep, whatever it is. I'm not sure. I didn't look it up before I did this video, but yeah, just throw a bunch of water vapor into the air and it'd rain for a while, but it wouldn't be as bad. That's what I would hope for. Either way, for the best chances of survival, you'd want to be away from a coastline and away from highly populated areas. And if it hit somewhere around the Earth where we would have time to react to it, then you'd want to get out of a highly populated area. And most Gen Xers already know that. But again, I have a theme that goes through all these, and that's mobilization. You've got to be mobile in any of these situations. Mobility is the prime thing. Next is food and water, and staying alive. But if you can't get away from the danger, then you can have all the food and water you want. It's not going to help you. So you need to be able to mobilize, and then start thinking about stockpiling things or whatever. But if you can't get out of the danger zone, then you're already starting the race halfway behind. And of course, if the asteroid lands right on top of us, we don't have to worry about any of that. The rest of the world's going to worry about that. And I'll leave you there. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down below. Or you can go over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I'll put that link down in the description. We also have some pretty cool Gen X gear over at Redbubble. Be sure to go check that out if you're interested. There's some cool stuff over there. Everything from stickers to t-shirts to backpacks, all kinds of stuff. And I'll put that link down in the description as well. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. I really appreciate that. That helps out a lot. Thank you very much. And if you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can email me, and the email's over on the channel page. Thanks again for watching, and as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.